So Pierre André, tell us about you, your background, your career, and how you came up with Mayi Africa.
I'm 52. I spent about 30 years in the food, in the fast-moving consumer good industry. So in the food industry, practically 25 years at Danone. For the most part of it in finance until I became the CFO of Danone. And in this context, I helped some social initiatives to be set up, and in particular some funds, Livelihood Venture, which is a carbon fund, and a couple of other initiatives. And I got exposed to what really matters in the world. And getting exposed to that, getting exposed to nature, environment, getting exposed to hunger in different parts of the world made me wonder what is the sense of continuing to work for a company which provides even more sophisticated products every day to a European consumer when a lot of people are basically starving and need help. So it was not enough to make me change my mind, but it was something which grew up progressively. At some stage, I decided to stop finance, and I was given the responsibility of Africa by Emmanuel. So Emmanuel Faber, we set up an Africa division, and the idea or the dream of the Africa division was precisely not to address the rich people, but to go one level below and to address the poor people and the mass market, and we tried to do so. And that was a great adventure for 2 years and a half, but after 2 years and a half, the group had other issues, and basically I left it. And when I left it, I had the choice between going back to do a finance role in big corporation or continuing project, which I had seen at Danone, and that's a choice I made. And for me, that was just obvious, not to go back to something which doesn't make sense and I've already done, but to put my energy beyond what is necessary. And in fact, that's the Mayi project.
So that's my second question. What is the Mayi project?
So Mayi means water in Lingala, which is one of the African language, the one from Congo. And Mayi is not something very sophisticated. It's pretty simple, actually. It's combining existing water solutions for the bottom of the pyramid, like Mille et Une Fontaines, you have them here, and a few others in the developing world, which are decentralized treatment units bringing water at a fraction of the cost of bottled water in the world. So combining that with the idea of addressing the mass market in the urban areas of Africa. So Mayi is basically a business which intends to provide a high quality water at affordable price to low income and middle income people in the cities of West Africa. And we are going to start now in November.
So that's interesting. You said it's a business. So how would you position Mayi? Is it a business? Is it a social enterprise? What is it?
I'm from a generation which was raised with the idea that capitalism is a solution, and I still believe capitalism is a solution. I think business has the following characteristic. It does generate cash flows, and the cash flows have the ability to perpetuate the expansion of the model. So I'm running a business, and I want that to be a business. Now, this business is serving a cause, and this cause is providing safe and high-quality water to people who today do not have the ability to buy it. It's building a model which is going to be with no plastic waste, because we saw pictures of plastic waste before, and when you travel in Africa, this is something which is absolutely unacceptable. So finding a solution with no plastic is very important. And it's going to build a lot of employment locally, probably about 5,000 to 10,000 employment jobs in Africa, which is as well one of the keys. So my goal are socials, but the model is definitely business, and we are going to make profit.
Can you tell us why exactly you went to Africa? Why Africa?
Well, probably like many people, a bit by coincidence, but when I first went to Africa, I immediately felt the same energy as the one I had faced in Asia back at the beginning of the 90s. The time Asia was taking off, and there was such an excitement, especially for someone coming from Europe, where the mood was very gloomy. And I could feel in Africa exactly the same energy. So that drives me. So that's the first point. And the second reason is that having traveled in Africa now for 3 years, I'm convinced that this is one of the biggest stakes even we as Europeans, have in front of us. Because it can be a huge opportunity for the expansion of Africa and Europe as well. So it can be a huge business opportunity if we take it well and if we invest seriously behind it. Or it can be a huge risk as well. And this is what we are seeing today with the development of terrorism, with all the migration. And so investing in Africa is basically trying to create a solution for the world and for the relationship between Africa and Europe. And that's important as well for my kids.
And you were mentioning plastic waste in Africa, so but aren't your companies, isn't it going to increase the number of plastic waste in Africa?
So our model is not going to do, I love very much, by the way, the model of the previous guy. I need to talk to him, but ours is going to rely on returnable plastic. So basically for every plastic bottle of plastic given, there will be a deposit, and the deposit will ensure that the bottle is going to be brought back. And once it is brought back and once it is used, it's going to be recycled. Same thing for the cap. So my objective is really to have absolutely no impact on the waste. And on the contrary, this is going to avoid the development of sachets, which are just something horrendous in Africa and basically destroying the landscape and the economy.
So now that you're on your own and working on this venture, is it something? Is there anything that you were not expecting, when you were still, in your corporate and at Danone, going from a big corporation to a venture that you're running yourself? What were you not expecting?
I think basically I got what I expected, but sometimes when you really touch that anything when you're in a big corporation is given to you, you want to hire somebody, you have the HR department, you want to buy plastic bottles, you have the purchasing department, you want to do anything, you have people to help you. And when you start a business, you want to do anything, you have nobody to help you. So even for the most basic thing, you have to do it. It's not a surprise, but some morning it's a bit disturbing. No surprise. I mean, everybody has been telling me, you're building something, you will have difficulty, you need to go over them. Everybody told me the business model you are creating is not going to be the one you had in mind from the beginning. So just have a look at opportunities as well, have a look at risk, listen to people. Don't hesitate to adjust the model every time it is necessary, even if you feel it is very different from the one at the beginning, as long as it is in the spirit. But also look at the opportunities, because you find risk, but you also find things which you did not think were possible, and they help you.
What exactly? I mean, would you regret your years at Danone? Would you go back ever?
No, never. No, it's. It was incredible. These 25 years were incredible, and I would not be able to do what I'm doing at the moment if I had not learned everything I've learned and be exposed to the environmental issues and the business of water and so on. I don't regret at all doing what I'm doing today for many reasons. One is that I'm really, there is a clear link between my everyday job and the impact I'm having on it. It's not something which is intricated with the management of political systems or processes or whatever. It is direct, and I'm going to be able to count directly the number of people impacted by my solution.
So you feel you're having more impact now than when you were in a bigger corporation?
Yeah, more impact and more freedom. I'm free to find the best solution for the business, which in big corporation is becoming difficult because there are so many legacies to protect that a big part of the energy is about the protection of the legacy instead of being about addressing the issues, and it's very difficult for them to do better.
And what are the next steps for you? where exactly is your project, Mayi? You just started, or are you raising? What's the next step for you?
Yeah, so it's really about building kiosks as they do exist again in India, Cambodia, Haiti, and many countries of the world. These kiosks being 60 to 70 square meters with a purification machine and jugs, and then selling. And it's building one kiosk, and then two, and then 30, and then 50, and then hundreds. So it's a lot about finding the right model, fine-tuning it, and we are doing that at the moment. And once you've found it, it's about scaling up. So I'm working on both sides, and it's the very interesting thing as well. It's very operational, and at the same time, I need to be very conceptual about how do I go from 2 to 1,000 in 5 years' time.
Pretty exciting. I'll leave it to the audience. Do we have any questions for Pierre André? Yeah, we have one here.
Hello, Pierre André. We know from your past life, so nice to see you again. And as I know that you have a strong financial background, I would like to know if you imagine to raise funds with blockchain.
To raise funds with?
With ICO and blockchain.
Yeah, maybe one day. I know there is a similar initiative to mine
Yes.
trying to do that. For the moment, what I've chosen, and I'm lucky enough to have this option, is not to raise any funds. Because having a lot of experience in finance, I also know that finance never comes without counterparts. So it's conditions, it's deadlines, and I want to be as free as possible to set up the model at the beginning. So for the coming for the first 1 to 2 years, no. And then, yes, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, why not? That seems to be an interesting option.
Thank you.
Another question? Yeah, one here.
Hi. So without funding, what would be your business model to support your activities?
Well, my funding is I'm investing my money into that. And then the business model is pretty simple. It's a business. I'm producing water, I'm selling water, and I'm making a margin between the price at which I sell and the cost of production, and that's going to fund the operation.
Do you have a perspective to return over investment?
Yeah, I have business plans. I'm not sure I would have known that by heart, but I expect that every kiosk is going to be break-even in year 2, and then it's a question of pace of expansion, because the more you grow, the more you need funds. So at some stage, I would have to make a call between the speed of development and the autonomy, because I want the spirit of the project to remain absolutely clear. All along. I mean, there's no way we're going to make sachet, for instance. That's one of the conditions. So I need to work on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're actually running out of time, so thank you very much, Pierre André, for being here. Thanks again.
Thank you.